What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined today by my co-host, Ryan. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot, man. Just playing babysitter. But I am so ready for playoff football. I've been counting down the days. My Bills playing that first 1 a.m. Or 1 p.m. time slot tomorrow, and I'm all fired up about it.
Yep, it's super exciting. Even though the Panthers are out, I'm still super excited for the playoffs. Can't wait. I'm officially on the Bills and Packers bandwagon because that's been my Super Bowl since the beginning. So we're gonna hope that that ends up happening. But we had some interesting Week 17 battles, basically decide who was going to make the playoffs and who wasn't. I guess we can start with let's go off of NFL.com, and on the schedule, the first game that actually mattered was the Steelers and Browns. The Browns barely won this game, 24-22, and making the playoffs for the first time since 2002, I believe. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, this is huge for the Browns. I think their playoff drought stood at 17 years. And that was exactly where our playoff drought stood a few years ago. So I know exactly how they feel, and I'm so excited for the dog pound and so excited for Cleveland. They need this. They earned this. I just feel bad, given all the COVID situations with them. They've been absolutely rocked by COVID these last 2 weeks and even into this week. And we'll talk more about that later as we talk about playoffs. But pretty narrow victory against the Steelers, who sat Big Ben and some of their other starters. So a win's a win, and they got into the playoffs. So that's really all that matters for them. But, it was a pretty close one, pretty close for comfort.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if I'm a Browns fan, yay, we made the playoffs, but at the same time, we won by 2 points and they weren't playing some of their starters. I feel like we should have probably won by more than that, but like you said, a win's a win. I guess we move on. The Ravens obviously got into the playoffs. They beat the crap out of the Bengals. They won 38-3. This team scares the hell out of me for any team in the AFC. I know I'm very happy that the Bills are not playing them round one. They're getting hot at the right time, for sure.
Yeah, I mean they've really put this offense together. The defense, I feel like, has been a strong suit for them the entire year. Yeah. But yeah, that offense is finally starting to figure out the run game. Lamar finally starting to get in rhythm with Hollywood. Like, things are coming, and this is not like you're saying. Like, I think the Bills are one of the hottest teams, and the Ravens are right up there with them. Like, those two are the just hottest teams in the NFL, and I really don't, like you said, I really don't want to play the Ravens. They terrify me right now.
The only way you're going to play them is if it's in the AFC Championship. So I think you're sitting pretty for right now.
I take that.
Up next, we got your Buffalo Bills. They destroyed the Dolphins 56-26. I'll make mine quick. The Bills are by far the hottest team in the NFL. If it wasn't for one Hail Mary catch by the Cardinals, they would have 10 in a row. They just look like the most – Stephon Diggs has just done wonders for Josh Allen and this whole Bills team. And the Dolphins, I mean, it was a must-win game and you lost it. So I don't really feel that bad for you. With that being said, yeah, like I said, the Bills, I feel like, are the hottest team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, man, it's like you said, Diggs has been like a marvel for this team. Like, this team is just – it went from a good team that's happy-go-lucky that kind of gets into the playoffs to a dominant team, and I love that so much. I was really surprised that, I'm not sure if you watched this game, but we sat all of our starters the entire second half, and we still put up 28 points in the second half. This was just an all-around. We scored on defense, we scored on special teams, we scored plenty on offense, on the ground, in the air. We scored in all areas. I think the only thing we didn't do was kick a field goal, and that's because we didn't have to.
You might not like this comparison because it didn't end very well, but this Bills team reminds me so much of when the Panthers were 15-1. Everyone was so happy. There was so much hype going into the playoffs, and then obviously they didn't win the Super Bowl. But this Bills team, they just feel like a family. They feel like they have it together, and they're just ready to run through the AFC, which obviously we'll get to the playoffs in a few minutes. But I'm really excited for this Bills team. Moving on, Seahawks they were already in the playoffs, but they beat the 49ers 26-23. Too close for comfort, in my opinion, but Seattle, you were already in. It wasn't a must win. So,
Yeah.
congratulations. And then we had the win and you're in between the Rams and the Cardinals. This game was weird because it started with Kyler. He was in the game and then he got injured and was out the game for like 2 quarters and then ended up coming in for like the last like 8 minutes of the game. And they ended up losing. Obviously, the Rams won 18-7, even with their backup quarterback, who I believe is starting this week in the playoffs.
John Walford, yeah.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I feel like the Cardinals are a few years away, maybe like 1 or 2. They need to get some more pieces on that team. And the Rams,
Yeah.
that defense is scary enough that they could definitely win some games. So, what do you have to say, man?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you on the Cardinals. I don't know if they're a few years away. I think they could squeak in next year. And they really were this close to where I think that if Kyler played that entire game, they might have found themselves in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think if
Um,
they were healthy, they probably would have won.
yeah. I mean, this is a great team with a great young quarterback, top 5 receiver in the league. Like they're gonna go far.
Yeah.
It's just this year just wasn't their year, I guess. But the Rams I'm disappointed because I think with the healthy Jared Goff and healthy wide receivers, because I know Cooper Kupp was banged up for a while, I think this team could upset the Seahawks.
I know Cooper Cup is back this week. Golf is not supposed to be. I think if they win, Golf can come back for the next game.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a few minutes because I have a feeling that I might be picking the Rams in that game, but we'll see. What's the next game matter? Oh,
I'm intrigued.
this was a weird game. The Titans beat the Texans 41-38, and I really thought this whole game that the Texans were going to win. And then somehow the Titans pulled it out, obviously, because they won. But now I'm going to go on a little bit of a sidebar, but the Texans have all sorts of problems now because now it's coming out that Deshaun Watson might want to trade, and he is unhappy with the franchise, and now he's reportedly requesting a trade. I don't really know what's going on. A lot of rumors are like, hey, he wants to be traded, but it's never going to happen because they're not going to trade him. What do you think is going to end up happening with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, the whole situation is weird. Like, so they earlier this week, the Texans hired former director of football personnel Nick Caserio from the New England Patriots as their GM, and then all these reports came out that Deshaun was pissed because they weren't interviewing Eric Bieniemy for head coach, and I'm really having trouble like finding how those two correlate. Like, they could still interview him, and they should if they're okay. First off, if they don't, I totally understand why Watson would be upset because he's the hottest head coach candidate on the market. Like, you have to interview that guy.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, if I'm Eric Bieniemy, that's one of my top choices. I mean, Eric Bieniemy has the world in his hands, man. He can go wherever he wants, but like,
I don't think he's going to get hired.
You don't think he's going to get hired at all, anywhere?
I think if he does get hired, it's going to be with Houston, and they're going to do it solely to make so that Deshaun Watson doesn't want to leave.
You don't think the Jets will hire Eric Bieniemy if he wants?
I don't think he wants to go to the Jets. I think he'd stay with.
No one wants to go to the Jets.
I think he would stay with the Chiefs before he went to the Jets. I think the only teams that he'd go to are the Chargers and the Texans. Otherwise, I think he'd stay with the Chiefs.
You don't think he'll go to Atlanta?
I wouldn't want to go to Atlanta. That's a lot.
Really? You wouldn't want Julio and Calvin Ridley as an offensive coordinator.
You're going to want to trade Julio, and you're going to want to trade Matt Ryan.
Sounds like a hell of a rebuild.
Okay, but back to Deshaun Watson. We can do our rebuild episode next week. But back to Deshaun Watson. Do you think he ends up getting traded? Like,
I'd be really surprised. I would be truly shocked. They just gave him a huge extension, literally like less than a calendar year ago.
Yeah, but
less than 6 months ago, honestly.
think on my hand of at least 5 teams that would give up whatever they wanted.
Dude, the Saints would. I don't think the Saints could afford him.
Yeah, they could. They could trade some people that they would afford him. That's the same thing with the Panthers. The Panthers would have to, because I've heard the Panthers, the Bears, the Saints, and the 49ers are all teams that are rumored to have interest. But like I'll use the Panthers for instance because I know the most about them. They would have to trade like the mock trade I saw going out today was Teddy Bridgewater, our 8th overall pick, so our first rounder this year, our first rounder next year, and our second round pick this year. So you're giving up your first and second this year, a first next year, and Teddy Bridgewater for Deshaun Watson in return. And if I'm the Panthers GM, I would immediately accept that trade.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I'd throw in Curtis Samuel for good measure if they want him.
I'd throw in DJ Moore before I'd throw in Curtis Samuel. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel's cheaper. DJ Moore would cost more money. I'm telling you right now. If they called up right now, Ryan, this is a tangent, but if they said Teddy Bridgewater, DJ Moore, and 2 first-round draft picks, you don't even think about it. Immediately you accept that trade.
Yeah, I guess you guys still do have Robbie Anderson.
Ryan, think about it. If Carolina had Deshaun Watson this year, we'd be in the play. We'd literally be in the playoffs and like a contender in the playoffs. We'd have one of the best offenses in the league. We had 3 wide receivers with 1,000 yards, and that's with Teddy Bridgewater.
Did Curtis Samuel have 1,000 yards?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That guy's going to get paid.
I'm hoping by Carolina, but I don't think he's going to get paid by Carolina. The Packers are going to come in and steal him away from me. I have a feeling.
Oh, my God. That would be a perfect fit.
I know. But
oh, my God.
But the Titans make the playoffs, obviously, because they're playing the Ravens.
Is that where this all started?
Yeah, at that game. Yeah, I know. Love it. So the next team that made the playoffs, obviously the Packers beat the Bears. Both of those teams are back in the playoffs. And then we can go ahead and get to it. It was Sunday Night Football. The Washington football team defeats the Eagles 20-14, and I will let Ryan go off because he was a little angry on Twitter.
Well, I feel like you didn't tell the full story. I mean, the Eagles were within firing distance. Like they were in
they
within 3 points.
It was
they were.
I think it was 14-14 when they benched. It might have been 17-14 when they benched.
I think it was
for Nate Sudfeld. So basically, what happened is the Eagles were down by 3 at the start of the second half. They let Hurts play like a drive, and then they openly tanked, in my opinion, for a better draft pick by benching Jalen Hurts and putting in a scrub in Nate Sudfeld. And they ended up obviously losing. And Twitter and the world kind of exploded with how dare they do this. And then the Giants head coach was basically like, this is unfair to the game. They shouldn't do this and all this other stuff, which really pissed Ryan off. So I'm going to let Ryan take the floor from here.
Yeah, man. And I heard that you were on the other side of the boat on this, and I totally respect that. Because I think it is, to an extent, I think this is disrespectful to the game. You play the game to win. Fans, I don't know if you saw that clip about J.J. Watt a few weeks ago where he said, I feel bad for Houston fans because they pay money for tickets. They spend time watching games. They buy jerseys. Same for Eagles fans. They watch the games, and they were terrible this year. They buy the jerseys. They spend money on tickets. It's an investment. And to see that level of just giving up is ridiculous. But at the same time, for the Giants coach to come out and just absolutely whine and throw a fit that he did that, I'm sorry, I have no sympathy for you.
So
first off, Doug Peterson is the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He can do whatever the hell he wants. To me, that move, you know what that move tells me? That move says we're 100% getting rid of Carson Wentz, and I want to see what we have in this third stringer to see if it can be a solid backup for Jalen Hurts next year. That's what I saw.
Ryan, he's been on the team.
I also saw them go from 4 or 6 draft picks that they moved up from that loss.
Yeah, I believe they went from 8 down to 5 or something like that. So, but I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate because Nate Sudfeld's been on that team since 2017. You know if he's good or not. You don't need to evaluate that. What you should be evaluating is Jalen, who is the future of your franchise if you're getting rid of Wentz. So do not tell me that you're benching to evaluate. No, you're not. You're benching to openly tank. And it's not fair to your players. You should have came into the game and said, hey, if it looks like we can win, we're going to tank. Don't just jump on, like, surprise them by saying, hey, just kidding, Hurts, you're out the game. Because reports were coming out the Eagles players had to be held back from going to confront Doug Peterson because they were so angry. Now, I get it. They suck. They're 4-11-1. They're terrible. But, like, I also see what you're saying because the Giants, you're 6-10. Like, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs. You're terrible.
Yeah. I was about to say, do you want to know the easiest way to get in the playoffs? Win more than 6 games. Don't start 1-7. Those are the 2 easiest ways to get into the playoffs, and the Giants did neither of those things.
Like,
they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
I don't feel bad for the Giants, but I'm so incredibly pissed off with the Eagles, and I have a feeling that he has completely lost that locker room. Like, they
100%.
by firing him.
The fact that he still has a job, I'm very shocked because we talked about this last week. I thought that Doug Peterson was going to be a hot take, like firing, and like they still have him. There's still time to fire him, but I don't think they're going to. And I think they're going to continue being very terrible.
Here's also the problem is if they can't trade Wentz, then you have a real issue because Jalen Hurts looks like he can actually play quarterback. And do you want a broken Carson Wentz with a $120 million contract on your bench? The Eagles have all sorts of problems. I do not condone this open tanking, but it is what it is. Washington, you're in the playoffs. Congratulations, Eagles fans. Well, sorry.
One thing I want to add before we move on from this is Joe Judge is freaking out about Doug Peterson doing this. As if Doug Peterson owed him a favor.
Yeah.
He's a division rival. He doesn't owe you anything. That's like weird. If the Bills were in this position and like Brian Flores did this, I would be like, I genuinely don't care if the Dolphins end up in playoffs. Speaking of which, if anyone in the NFL of all 32 teams deserve to do this, it would be Brian Flores. Brian Flores went 10-6 with this Dolphins team and missed the playoffs. I could see Brian Flores coming out and being like, hey, Mike Tomlin really screwed us over by benching Big Ben because they 100% would have won that game if they had Big Ben on the field because they would have beaten the Browns and the Dolphins would be in like probably the 6th seed. They were the 5 seed to start Sunday and now they're the 8th seed out of playoffs. If anyone had an excuse to do that, it would be Brian Flores. But you want to know why he's not doing that? Because he's a good coach and he could take responsibility and he knows that if going to playoffs was in someone else's hands, then that's on him. He didn't win the game that he was supposed to win, which was beating the Bills, and he didn't do that. So he took responsibility and ownership, and I respect him even more for not doing that. And I respect Joe Judge for I don't respect Joe Judge for doing what he did.
That was honestly perfectly said by you right there, Ryan. Like, that was a beautiful example that you just gave. Hats off to you, man, because, like, you're right. If anybody should be complaining, it should be the Dolphins, not the 4 or 6-10 Giants. Like, I'm sorry. You don't deserve to be in the playoffs. You're 6-10. Like, I can look at Washington and go, all right, they're 7-9. I get it. It's one game better, but 7-9 looks a hell of a lot better than 6-10, just in my own head. So, shout out to Washington. You're in the playoffs. Is there anything else you want to cover before we jump right into this wild card weekend?
No, that's it for me, man. And thanks for letting me get that off my chest. I've been boiling on that all week. Like, as soon as I saw that on Monday, it just set me off, man. I can't put up with that, man. That's ridiculous.
I have a feeling we're going to disagree a lot during these picks right now. So
lay it on me, man. I'm pumped.
All right. Well, obviously not this first one, but Super Wild Card Weekend starts tomorrow at 1:00. We have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Indianapolis Colts. This game is is it Orchard Park still?
Yeah.
In Orchard Park in Buffalo, New York. They're going to have like 7,000 fans there. It's going to be great. Those people are going to go insane. None of them are going to have voices come Monday or Sunday morning. But
if you do, you're like, you should just be refunded. You didn't go correctly.
I'm going to let Ryan take this one over because obviously he's a huge Bills fan. But I'll make mine quick and easy. I think Buffalo wins this game pretty easily. I think I have Buffalo by about 17 points. I'm going to go Buffalo 34, Indianapolis 14. So by 20.
I appreciate the support, first things first. But I am absolutely terrified for this game, man.
You'd be terrified for anybody, though. It's not
the
Colts.
I would be. And I mean, no, I mean, it's it's more of the fact that this is a big game and less on the fact that we're playing the Colts. It's just I've been on this train before. I was hyped when we made the playoffs and we lost 10-3 against the Jags. Back when the Jacksonville Jaguars were still good. And they called themselves Saxonville. I was there last year when, we were up 16-0 on the Texans and we lost that game in overtime. Like, I'm in a weird spot to where, like, I believe this team can make a Super Bowl run, and I don't want to get my hopes too high because we haven't won a playoff game since I was born.
I have the same feeling, by the way. I think Buffalo is either going to go to the Super Bowl or they're going to lose this game to the Colts. That's genuinely how I feel.
Dude, and honestly, like, if we make it to the AFC Championship and we don't win, this is a successful season for me.
Yeah, that's
improved. We won some playoff games. We were 13-3. Like, this is progress. We're moving in the right direction towards a Super Bowl win. But, like, if one and done this year too, man, it's gonna be rough. But that being said, I don't think that happens. I have a lot of confidence in this Bills team. 7,000 fans in the stands, like Alex said. This is the first time that Bills Mafia will get to see this 13-3 Buffalo team. I got to tell you, man, we are fired up. All of Bills Mafia is fired up. Tables broken, wings eaten, everything's gone, man. We are ready. Beer drunk, like it's happening, man. I'm so excited, and tomorrow is going to be a blast. And I guarantee you, it's going to be 7,000 fans. It's going to sound like a sellout. It's going to sound like 70,000. I promise you that. And this is Bills Mafia's first introduction to Stephon Diggs in person, and vice versa. And I guarantee you, he's going to get blown away. And the entire team is going to absolutely put on a show. I guarantee you, the players are amped. Phillip Rivers is not a cold weather quarterback. I could see Phillip Rivers throwing 2+ interceptions in this game. I think the Bills win by at least a touchdown or two.
I agree. The only way the Colts even have a chance is if Jonathan Taylor has like 200 rushing yards, I think.
And that's why I am scared, because he is a monster on the ground, and our run defense is not the best. So if he gets going, we have to put an end to the run game early.
What's the weather supposed to be like?
Last I saw, it was supposed to be like around 28 to 30 degrees, overcast.
Okay, so cold, because
yeah, very cold.
Like you said, Phillip Rivers doesn't do well in the cold. Yeah, like I said, I still think Buffalo wins this one pretty easy. I think their next test will come next round, but I think they get this one. You got anything else before we move on?
No, man, I sure hope so. That's all I got. I don't have anything else on it. I'm fired up, and I feel like I exemplified that.
All right, next we got the Saturday 4:40 game. We have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Like we said earlier, Cooper Kupp is activated for this game, but they will be going with – who did you say who's their quarterback?
John Wolford.
John Wolford is the Rams quarterback. I've only heard of him from last week up against Seattle. With that being said, I think this game is really close.
Like, yeah, I 100% agree.
Like 13-9 is the final score, and I want to pick the Rams. I really want to pick the Rams. And, like, it's truly a toss-up for me. Even with how much I hate Seattle, I'm like, this Rams defense is really good. Like, really good. It's just, can John, whatever his last name is, not turn the ball over and give Russell Wilson a short field? With that being said, I think I have to go. Actually, you go, because I haven't decided yet.
Well, man, the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, maybe the Rams can do this. But I can't get on it, because you want to know why. It's one thing for John Wolford to come off the bench for a Week 17 must-win game. It's another thing to go into Seattle in a playoff game, stare Russell Wilson in the eyes and say, I'm going to beat you. And I don't think John Wolford can do that. I don't think Jared Goff can do that. I think this is a Seahawks win, but I think you're absolutely right that this is going to be a really close game. This Seattle team is so weird, and I feel like this isn't like just the 2020 Seattle team. This is Seattle in general. Seattle is known for, like, they can put up 40 points on you, or they can only score like 9. There's no in between. Like we saw last week, I think the score was like 9-6 against the 49ers until like the fourth quarter. Like, this is I feel like this Rams defense is really going to hold them. And I think that in the end, the Seahawks are going to win, but not by much. I can see this maybe being like 17-10.
All right. Well, just for argument's sake, I'm going to take the Rams because, my brand is that I hate Seattle, so I might as well take the
My
Rams.
brand
It really is at this
for
point.
the brand.
I might as well take the Rams. But again, I do think this one's going to come down to the wire, and especially I think this is by far the worst matchup Seattle could have gotten. Is a division rival. Now you get to go play them because if anybody knows this Rams team, if anybody knows Seattle, it's this Rams team.
Yeah, oh, true.
Like I feel like it's every time these two teams play, I feel like it's a close battle. So I'm just going to take the Rams. Maybe John Walford can have some magic moments.
Now that you say that, I'm really excited because I think Sean McVay is going to throw absolutely everything he has at this Seattle defense. Like I'm talking trick plays, end arounds,
1,000%,
all sorts of things. And I think we're going to see this Rams running back committee in full motion. Like Cam Akers over 100 yards, Malcolm Brown probably over 50, and then Darnell Henderson probably over 50 as well. Like this is going to be a heavy ground game.
I agree. I also think the Rams have to have a defensive touchdown to win this game.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think that they have to get like a pick that gets taken back to like the 10-yard line.
It's going to be like somebody like Troy Hill that gets it and like just sails it in.
It's not going to be who we think. It's not going to be Ramsey or it's going to be like Tony Jefferson or something like that. I don't even know. I think that's their safety. But for some reason I'm really excited for this game, and I don't know why, because it could easily be a blowout if Walford sucks. But I don't know. I'm just excited.
But I think it's intriguing because the potential for the huge upset and like the huge Cinderella story is there, and I think that's bringing in a lot of intrigue because now like you're kind of getting me hyped up for it. Like now I'm like, let's go Rams.
I can already tell that by this podcast, I'm definitely going to be the guy that takes all the underdogs, and then I'm going to look really dumb come Monday when all the favorites win by like 20 points. But
it goes 0-6.
I'm not because we got the Bills. Don't.
That's
we got
hey now. I'm not gonna wood.
Somebody just had a drag race outside my window. So we have the last game for Saturday. It's the 8:15 game. We have the Washington football team at 7-9 taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 11-5. And again, Ryan, am I crazy for picking Washington?
You're not. I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm like,
I think Washington can win this game. I really do. Mike Evans he's supposed to play, but he's clearly injured. Like they said, if he is playing, he's a decoy, which means Antonio Brown's going to have to really step up. They don't have a run game that can compete with these guys. And I just have a feeling that Washington's defense is going to come out and win this game for Alex Smith. I'm taking Washington, and I don't know why, but I am. And this game's in Washington. And Brady doesn't play good since he's turned like 47 or however old he is now. He doesn't play good at nighttime prime games. The last 3 prime games he played at night, he's lost.
I did not know that.
Is that right? Hang on. They lost in the playoffs.
Are you throwing out facts right now?
I think I am. I believe they've lost the last 3 night games that they've played in prime time, which obviously all night games are in prime time. So yes. All right, I'm taking Washington.
Well, I think back to earlier this season when they played the Giants on Monday Night Football.
And they lost.
I don't think they lost, but I'm thinking like that game. I don't know if you remember it, but that game was ridiculously close.
No, I need to check.
Like it came down to like the final like seconds.
I'm looking into it, but you can talk about this game if you'd like.
Yeah, no, I mean like, and my point being here is that like it can happen. Tom Brady's not invincible. I know that they beat the Packers earlier this year, and they've beaten some good teams, but like they're not like. What's the word I'm looking for?
So they lost to the Bears week 5 on Thursday Night Football. And then they beat the Giants on Monday Night Football 25-23. So they do struggle in the primetime games. And then they lost to the Rams on Monday night 27-4. Yeah. So
it's happening, man.
This might be dumb. I'm taking Washington.
No, I might be backing you on this. Like,
Let's go.
and nothing would make me happier as a Bills fan. Just see Tom Brady with his brand new sparkly team just lose in the first round. But like, in all seriousness, like this defense is so slept on. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, like if they're able to put up 2 sacks each, this game is Washington's. Alex Smith has got to be like on fire, and they've got to be like scoring points at the gate. There's no hesitation. 4th and 4, you have to go for it. I don't even care if you're in your territory. This is the Buccaneers. It's a playoff game. You got to go for it. I think I might take Washington with you. Go football team.
Let's do it. There are
I'm here for
saying,
it.
though, that Alex Smith and Taylor Heineke might be rotated in and out throughout the game.
Oh gosh, that might change my answer.
No, it's too late now. You already took Washington. So we're on this boat together, Ryan.
All right.
All right. We're going down with the ship. Washington, let's do this thing. In
Ron
FedEx
Rivera,
Field,
don't let me down.
yeah, do it for Ron. All right. Moving on to Sunday. The first game of the day might be my favorite game of the entire weekend. We have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Tennessee Titans. This game is in Tennessee. And I honestly think this game is going to be way closer than people think it is. But I think the Ravens are going to win. I think the Ravens are really hot, like almost equally as hot as the Bills.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if they can stop Derrick Henry, who is having a historic season. With that being said, I guess I'm going to take Baltimore 24-21. They win it on a Justin Tucker walk-off field goal. And the only way I see Tennessee winning this game is if they make Lamar throw it like 30 times.
See, man, I see it Ravens 35, Titans 31. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. This is going to be a really fun one to watch. Derrick Henry is going to run wild. Lamar Jackson is going to run wild. We talked about this last week. The Titans put up 14 sacks for the year. How do you expect to like contain Lamar Jackson if you can't get to a normal quarterback? This guy is going to absolutely dust them, and it's not going to be good. I think the Ravens, it might even be worse than 35-31. It might even get to I think it might get to a blowout, honestly, but like I think Derrick Henry keeps him in the game. Maybe A.J. Brown makes a play or two too.
Yeah, they're going to have to get out to an early lead, I think the Titans are. And Baltimore's going to have to come from behind. Because if the Titans get down by like 14 and they can't run it with Derrick anymore, it could get ugly pretty quick.
Yeah. This is the game of the week. And honestly, the fact that like Pittsburgh and Cleveland are the Monday night or the Sunday night slot like kind of pisses me off because I'm like, give me Tennessee and Baltimore all day.
Yeah, honestly, I wish Pittsburgh and Cleveland were this 1:00 game, and either of these games were the. Although I'm still excited for that game, I think it'll be good, but we'll get there in a second. So, you got anything else to say about this one?
Nope. I go Titans.
Well, let's go Ravens.
I don't want to play the Ravens.
Fair enough. Go Titans. I didn't think about it. Wait.
You won't hear me say that many – or, yeah.
You wouldn't play the Ravens would play the Chiefs if they win.
I know, but, like there's still the possibility that the Ravens beat the Chiefs, and then we'd have to see them later on.
All right. Fair enough.
I don't know, man. I'm worried.
We got the 4:40 game. It's the New Orleans Saints taking on the Chicago Bears. This game is in New Orleans.
The Bears.
Wait, do we have the same take here? That the Bears are going to win this game?
I'm starting to think about it, and I don't think we do. I think –
No, we do, Ryan. The Bears are going to win this game. I'm telling you right now, Mitch Trubisky, 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns, and they win this game. Drew Brees is shot. That arm is a noodle. He looks like Cam Newton last year where he couldn't throw it more than 25 yards. He can't throw the deep ball anymore. They're without Michael Thomas. Alvin Kamara is supposed to play. They haven't cleared him off the COVID list yet, I don't think, unless they did it today. But I'm telling you right now, the Bears are going to come in here. Khalil Mack's going to have 3 sacks, and they're going to win. Mitch Trubisky, 4 touchdowns. I'm calling it Bears 34, Saints 24. Bears win in a shootout, not even a defensive battle. I'm getting out of my hand. Never mind. Hang on. I'm walking that back. They're not scoring 34 points. Let's go. Bears 24, Saints 17. Bears by a touchdown.
He
Well,
said this is getting out of hand.
I thought about it for a second. I was like, there's no shot Mitch Trubisky scores 34 points. So let me. But you got to think about it. Mitch is also playing for a job. This is his open tryout for the league. He's a free agent this season. They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. If he wants to go be the Patriots' next quarterback, he's got to show out tonight.
Oh God, please. Oh man. Anyways, I think you really almost had me. I almost bet.
Come on.
I'm not going. I gotta go with the Saints, and here's why. Their defense has always been underratedly really good. I think Marshawn Lattimore gets a touchdown in this game. I think Mitch Trubisky chokes. Did he play? Who played in that playoff game a year or two against the Eagles with the Parkey field goal?
Trubisky.
That's Trubisky?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he actually didn't do that bad. He almost –
No, he was pretty
good. Well, he got him in field goal range. I don't know, man. I have to go with the Saints.
I will also say a big hatred of this is, one, I hate the Saints with a passion, and two, my cousin is the biggest Saints fan of all time, and I just want to see him as sad as I am. So I really want them to lose to the Bears, and I want Drew Brees to go out crying that he lost to Khalil Mack and Mitch Trubisky, because he's definitely retiring when they lose.
That's the spirit. I was about to say, do you think he retires after this game?
Yeah. He has.
What about Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, he's retiring too. If he's not retiring, he's not getting re-signed by the Colts.
Honestly, I don't know who would sign him at this point. He's got to just go.
Somebody would sign him as a backup. The question is, does he want to be a backup?
Dadgummit, I don't think he would.
I don't think he would either.
That's what he always says.
Honestly, Phillip Rivers to the Saints?
Dun, 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 dun.
What's weird is, this is a little bit off topic, but there are so many quarterbacks that are going to be available this offseason that, like, it's going to be wild. Like, you got to think about it. Jameis is available. Mitch Trubisky's available.
Fitzpatrick,
Phillip Rivers, not to mention
Dak.
all the guys getting drafted, and the guys that want trades, like Matthew Stafford, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz. Like
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Well, depending on what they do at quarterback, I don't think they'd take one, but we'll see. All right. Also, fun fact: this game is on CBS and Nickelodeon.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I saw the promotion for this, where this is going to be like the big, how do they get kids into football?
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to turn it on to Nickelodeon at some point, because it's supposed to be like there's like slime in the end zones and SpongeBob is the commentator or something.
No,
It seems very strange. Honestly, it seems kind of scary. I don't know if I'd want my kid to watch that, but I guess we'll find out.
If you want kids to fall in love with football, I mean, honestly, you just got to stick them on Sunday Night Football and let them listen to Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth.
By the way, them calling that Eagles game was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. They were basically openly being like, what the fuck is happening, without anybody saying it. It was hilarious. All right. Wrapping up Wild Card Weekend, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, the 8:15 NBC Sunday Night Football. Who you got, Ryan?
I got the Steelers, and it's not close. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Browns, will not be coaching this game because of COVID. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I did. They're also down their guard, Joe Patonio or whatever. He's out.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. He's a huge piece.
Yeah, he's out with COVID, and I believe like two other coaches are. Now, I will say another guy that's going to miss the game for the Steelers is Joe Hayden, their corner. He's out for this game.
That does even the playing field a little bit with, I mean, I don't know who would guard Jarvis.
Not close. You think this is a blowout?
Yeah, I just think like the Steelers have been disrespected for like about a month now, and they're ready to like.
The Steelers are good.
Speaking of disrespect, did you see what Juju said?
No, what did he say?
I sent it to you. He was like, in an interview this week, he's like, yeah, like I'm not too worried about this game. Like the Browns are the Browns. Like they're the same like nobodies that we play in the season. Like it's bad.
Dude, you're not. He's not good enough to be making comments like that. I'm sorry.
Honestly, like glorified wide receiver too. Like the guy I follow on Twitter, who's like a Bills media member, he was like,
Yeah.
It's not an away game, so he still has to find a way to disrespect the opposing team.
All right. With that being
Can't
said,
dance on their logo.
I'm going to take the Browns. I
Explain.
don't. I don't think this Steelers team is good. I don't think Big Ben has it anymore. I think he can make a few throws, but I don't think he can.
I don't think they have it anymore either, but I think he's got enough in the tank
They
to
have no
win
run.
the home playoff game against the Browns.
They have no run game. Their best running back is Benny Snell, who looks like Kelvin Benjamin out there. Too many biscuits. And so it's going to be a defensive battle for sure. And I just think Cleveland has a run game. I have Cleveland winning this game.
Yeah, I mean that'll be Cleveland's big key if they can get out ahead. Like honestly, I just thought about like the coach that's gonna have to step in for Stefanski is just gonna call HB dive the entire
By the way,
game.
I just want you to know their head coach is going to be their special teams coordinator. That's their head coach.
Yeah, fake punts all day, baby.
Here comes Jarvis Landry throwing 3 touchdowns.
Honestly,
You imagine.
it's a shame that Odell's not playing because he'd probably have one too.
I'm telling you right now, the Browns are winning this game.
I think you.
Although
But see,
for the Bills, I'd rather play the Steelers. I'd rather the Steelers win this game.
Oh, 100%. Also, because like if the Browns win this game, we'd have to play the winner of the Titans-Ravens game.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because the highest seed goes to Kansas City regardless.
Yeah, but the Ravens would be the highest seed.
No, the Browns would. The Browns are 6.
What are the Ravens? I thought the Ravens were 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the highest seed.
Highest seed go to the Chiefs.
Yeah, so the Chiefs would get the Browns and we get the Ravens.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah, it is.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay. I mean, obviously you would know better than I do. You know, it is your team is in the playoffs. My team, I'm looking at mock drafts already. So,
but no, man. I mean, the reason I struggle with this is like they just played this team, and like that team almost won against like with their backup quarterback in.
Yeah, but
you're telling me Ben won't make a difference in that at all?
I mean, Mason played really good in that game. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, maybe they'll play Mason.
You imagine Big Ben gets benched for Mason Rudolph?
I want to see Josh Dobbs out there.
Honestly, bro.
Dobby Dimes.
I really think Cleveland wins. I'm not kidding.
You're just completing the underdog parlay.
I know, really. I have taken Cleveland, the Bears,
the football team,
and the Rams.
And wow. the John Wolford-led Rams. Like,
by the way, that's going to be the one. If they do win that game, I'm going to talk the most shit.
Dude, honestly, if any one of these picks hits, you get so much respect from me.
Right. There's no shot I go 0-4. Somebody's pulling off an upset.
8 days later.
The next podcast, I'm just sitting here. Yep, I went 0-4. No, it's not going to happen. Somebody's going to win.
Yeah, I think one of those picks are going to hit.
If I had to put my money on it, I think I'm going. I want to go with Washington. Of those 4 teams, you don't think Washington has the best odds?
You don't bet money off Tom. You don't bet money against Tom Brady.
Yeah, but it's not Boston Tom. This is Tampa Tom. Tampa Tom's been
the trademark, you know.
Yeah, exactly, you know. Free promo. No, honestly, I think the realistic choice here, if I had to bet one, it'd probably be the Browns. Because they're the best team.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Rams are really intriguing. The Rams are really intriguing.
I think I might put money on the Rams.
By the way, Ryan, I thought long and hard about putting money on a specific prop, which is the Buffalo Bills to play the Packers in the Super Bowl, is like plus 1,800 or something like that. And I really thought about calling my uncle who lives in Pennsylvania and being like, "Listen, I'm gonna send you $50. I need you to put this on this right now because if this hits, That's a lot of money.
Dude,
But
send him 100. I'll get in on that.
no, that's too much, Ryan. That would be nerve wracking.
No, what I'm saying is I'll pitch in on that.
We'll talk later. I don't know. That's a lot of stress because then we got to worry about two different teams making it.
Yeah.
I wonder what are the Super Bowl odds? Can I not type on my computer?
I bet we're super low because Josh Allen lateral some playoff games.
There's no way. For some reason, my keyboard has stopped working. I'm not really sure why, but
Oh, that's fine.
whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing too much, but actually, can I look on here? Can I look it up on my phone? This is not entertaining for anybody. What are the Super Bowl?
ASMR.
Who is the favorite Super Bowl?
It's
No,
got to be Kansas City.
you think so? All right, Vegas.
Gotta be.
Let's see. Yeah, it's Kansas City. I already see it. They're plus 200. So Kansas City is the favorite, followed by the Packers. Buffalo is only third. They're plus 700 though.
That's awesome.
That's
I did
actually
not think we'd be that high.
really good odds. The team that has the worst odds are the Chicago Bears and the Washington Football Team at plus 8,000.
Wow. And you picked both of those teams to win this weekend.
I sure did. In fact, the only underdog team the Rams plus 3,000, Browns plus 5,000, Bears and Washington plus 8,000. The only team that I didn't pick is the Colts, and that's just because I really think that that's a slaughtering. Now, Ryan, what is your nervousness going into Saturday, tomorrow morning? How nervous are you going to be? Like
Out
on
of 10?
a scale of 1 to 10. Yeah.
14.
Wow, really?
Like,
How
I'm so
angry
nervous.
are you going to be if they lose? Or are you
I
just
don't know.
sad?
Like, I'm just gonna be really sad, man. Like, I cried last year.
I
Like
know.
that
I really need
OT
y'all to
loss
win
was
this game.
really hard.
Because I'm gonna feel really bad if y'all lose, especially because it's the first game of the weekend. It's just gonna ruin your whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be there watching at 105 to see who wins.
I am so terrified. I really am terrified.
I just wish it was Miami. The Colts scare me for some reason.
Me too, man.
The Colts are just like they're. It's either gonna be a blowout or it's gonna be really close. I think it's gonna be a blowout. Though,
You're increasing my nervousness to like 15 now.
All right,
Like,
well-
it's only getting worse.
You got anything else to say before we wrap up this episode?
Go Bills. You guys stay safe, continue to wear masks, and maybe we can have fans in the stands full time in 2021.
For sure.
But yeah, you guys need to sit back and relax. A great weekend of football, and we can check back in on Alex's stats next weekend.
Yeah, I will tweet out who I picked, But go Bills, go Washington, go Rams, go who else?
The Bears.
The Bears and Browns, Let's go. Dog pound. I'm looking out for you guys. Let's have a weekend, boys. All right. Bill. We'll catch you after a wild card weekend. So next week. Have a good weekend.